watching Into Wine, and we're at Incanto in San Francisco tasting sparkling wines. And today we'll be tasting the Ca del Bosco Cuvee Prestige. And this is an Italian sparkler. Comes from the Franciacorta region of Lombard, Italy.
Well, I've got to start off by saying that I'm actually very partial to these wines, having worked with Italian wines for so long. These wines are actually pretty much Italy's answer to champagne, and they're doing a really nice job with them. This is a very well-known house. They've been doing it for quite some time. I think the important thing to me is that the house style really shines in this wine here, which tends to be a yeastier, kind of nutty style of wine, a little bit of bread dough. Always a really nice blast of acidity to balance all that richness out. It's very well made, I feel.
I have to agree with Edward. I mean, I'm quite surprised how much this wine reminds me from the aromatic standpoint about champagne. It has quite a strong mineral component to it. Definitely the classic nuttiness. Yeah, so definitely, and very well made wine, in my opinion, too.
Now, what do you think gives this wine its distinction?
Well, I'm sure part of it has to do with the terroir and the lie of the land. I think probably the majority of the work, as they say, is done in the vineyard. There's probably only so much you can do in the cellar once the raw product comes into the cellar. Just they're very careful with it. What's important for me about a wine like this is the house style, much like they do in Champagne. Certain houses will shoot for a richer, yeastier, kind of a bread dough type of style. Others will shoot for a little more linear, little more purity of fruit. This is Ca del Bosco. This is what they do. It's nicely balanced. It's nice and rich. I get a real richness.
Yeah, they have a great reputation. The quality of this wine is great. The bubbles are very small. They're very small streams of bubbles, and the packaging is beautiful. I think the shape of the bottle is fantastic. The clarity of the bottle, it's all excellent. The wine is fresh, delicious, and very typical of this region, absolutely classically of this region. My one sort of objection is the price. It's $50 a bottle. You know, you can get a cava from Spain as good as this for $20 a bottle or under. But you know, this is Italy, and Italians proud of this wine. It's got a following. It's probably one of the best producers in Italy for sparkling wine, so they can get the price. But would I pay in a restaurant? You know, if this is $50 retail, what would you pay in the restaurant?
In a restaurant, this wine's probably going to be right around, I would imagine, about $75 a bottle.
And that's a reasonable markup, an Incanto markup.
That's
some places you go to for 100, you find this $100, and that's too much for a non-champagne.
Now that's a good point, and this is what's difficult about what we're trying to do with these wines. Here in the United States, sparkling wine, I think, is really acknowledged as a celebratory item, and you would really like to see people, the wine-consuming public, drink it on more of a daily basis or an every other day basis, let's say. And this is...
You said celebratory. Do you mean celebratory?
Yes.
If you were celibate, you'd change after drinking this.
If I was celibate,
you'd be celebrating.
I'd be probably drinking a lot more of it.
Yeah.
Than I do now.
This would be the cure for celibacy. Anyway, it's great. I love it. But it's simple. It's a really high quality, simple sparkling wine.
I also think, because looking at the grape variety composition, it's almost like champagne, except for the Pinot Blanc. So I think it also kind of gives you the champagne-like character.
Yeah, it is 75% Chardonnay,
Yeah,
15%
exactly.
Pinot Nero, Pinot Noir, and 10% Pinot Bianco.
Pinot Bianco, yeah.
Well, back in the earlier days of Franciacorta, we're talking about pricing and value and so forth. There was a time where they were a little bit better value. I mean, some of these wines, they do go through secondary fermentation in the actual bottle, and it's supposedly Italy's answer to champagne. But as time has gone by and people have, large companies have started to infuse cash into the area, the pricing's steadily climbed. and they're just not as much value in these wines as there used to be. I think there's still the answer as far as Italy goes to Champagne, but the pricing is slowly
I would be
creeping up
curious
to
to
Champagne.
see what this sells for in Italy, because we've had wines from this importer in the past series which have been slightly overpriced, and I wonder if it's more a function of the importer's margins versus the wine itself.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. It's the weak dollar, although that's gotten a little bit better over the last year or so. But
So while this is a gorgeous sparkling wine and something that you could probably drink every day, maybe with the price point, it's a little bit higher than you'd want to drink every day, but definitely recommend this one. You should check it out. It's the Ca del Bosco Cuvee Prestige, retails for $49.99, and hope you enjoy it. See you next time.